You were given a number, 10,000 hours. Do the work, put in the time, and mastery becomes yours. It sounds fair, it sounds almost scientific, and that is exactly why it worked on you. Because the number is real. But the promise attached to it is a lie. The study everyone quotes looked at violinists at a music academy in Berlin. The best players had, on average, around 10,000 hours of practice by the age of 20. That single line traveled around the world. A writer picked it up, rounded it off, and turned it into a rule. 10,000 hours, anyone, anything. But the man who ran that study spent years trying to take the number back. Because he never said the hours were the cause. He said something the popular version quietly deleted. It was never about how long you practiced. It was about how. Think about the things you have done 10,000 times. You have walked for tens of thousands of hours. You are not an Olympic sprinter. You have listened to music your whole life. You cannot play it. You have typed for years, and most people never get faster after the first few months. They freeze at good enough and stay there for a decade. This is the part no one wants to look at. Repetition does not build skill. Repetition builds comfort, and comfort is where growth quietly dies. Your brain is not trying to make you great. It is trying to make you efficient. The moment a task becomes familiar, it hands the task to autopilot and stops paying attention. That feeling of ease you get, the sense that you have got this, that is not progress. That is your brain switching off. So the hours pile up, the counter climbs, and nothing changes. There is a different kind of practice. It has a name, and almost no one does it. Because it feels terrible. It is called deliberate practice, and the rule behind it is simple and slightly cruel. You have to stay at the edge of what you can do, the exact point where you keep failing, not the comfortable middle, where the music sounds fine and the work looks done. The edge, the place that feels awkward and slow and a little humiliating, where you break the skill into its smallest pieces and drill the one part you are worst at, again and again, until it stops being the worst. The people who get great are not the ones who suffer the longest. They are the ones who stay uncomfortable on purpose. And there is a second piece. Without it, none of this works. Feedback. You need something outside your own head telling you the truth. A teacher, a recording, a score, a number that does not care about your feelings because your brain is a generous liar. Left alone, it grades your work far higher than it deserves. It remembers your best attempt and quietly forgets the rest. This is why some people plateau for 20 years and others pull ahead in 2. It was never talent. It was never the hours. It was whether anything was ever pushing them past the edge. Now look at what this means for the number. 10,000 hours of comfort will make you worse than 500 hours of deliberate practice. You can spend a lifetime rehearsing your mistakes, and all you build is a perfect, permanent version of the wrong thing. Watch someone who has driven for 30 years. They are not a better driver than someone with 5. They are a more relaxed one. The hours went in, the skill stopped. And here is where it turns cold. If the hours were the answer, the system would be fair. Put in the time, get the result. But the hours are not the answer, which means the world is full of people who did everything they were told, who put in their 10,000 hours and quietly went nowhere. And they blamed themselves. They decided they lacked the talent. They did not lack talent. They were handed a broken instruction and told it was a law. Talent, the way you have been sold it, is mostly a story we tell after the fact. We watch someone perform at the edge of what is possible, and it is easier to call it a gift than to admit what it actually took. Years of choosing the uncomfortable path. Years of feedback most people would rather not hear. So forget the number. Ask a different question. When you practice anything, are you at the edge, or are you coasting? Are you failing at something specific, or repeating something safe? Is anything or anyone telling you the truth about your work? Because that is the real rule, the one that was buried under a nice round number so it could be sold to everyone. You were never held back by your hours. You were held back by how you spent them.